Good morning and welcome to Today at the Races at Laurel Park on the day after Maryland Million. I am Tim Tulloch, joined by Keith Fustel. Keith, how'd you pull up? I know it was a busy day up there, big fields. Calling those charts probably was pretty challenging.
It was a busy day, but a pretty good steady day. We didn't really have any hiccups all the way through the racing car. Bill and I kind of rolled through, and I was like, man, this went pretty good, because once I saw that overnight, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be brutal. There was a couple scratches, but the fields were all solid size, but didn't really have too much trouble in a lot of the races, which helps when you're kind of going back and we've got to sift through everything, go watch the run 3, 4, 5, 6 times to see if we missed anything. Sometimes we're going to miss stuff on busy days, but hopefully we got everything. And if anybody saw anything we missed, I guess you might want to hold it for a price, but if you can let us know, good. I'm always open to any kind of help or criticism if we miss something, because we try to do not a perfect job, but a close to perfect job.
Well, it's certainly a challenging job. I've sat up there and watched you guys call the charts, and I'm fascinated, honestly, how you keep it all together and keep it flowing during the running of the races. Something that we might want to hook you up with some sound one day, get a little segment of how those charts are called, because it's pretty interesting. We had a nice crowd out here on Maryland Million Day. We had some really, really nice races, some really cool results. Beltway Bob to start off the day. We're going to talk more about some of those races later on in the show, but a really exciting day. The kids playground here behind the paddock was rocking all day long, and that was a lot of fun. But let's get to today's card, and let's take a quick look outside. Again, it's going to be a nice day. It's going to be overcast for some of the day this afternoon. Temperature's right at 56. No wind. Turf's good.
Touch of a chill. The turf is firm. The track is fast. Track slowed down a little bit yesterday on Maryland Million Day from a couple prior days leading into it. So the times weren't as glib maybe as we were kind of accustomed to seeing. I didn't really notice any kind of bias to the main track. Did you? No, in the turf. Everything kind of played fair all the way through.
And we had horses that won on the lead. You had a horse, Marvelous, who came from way back. So there was a lot going on yesterday. I thought it played pretty fair.
Yes.
Let's get into today's card. Nice 10-race card with some challenging, tough races this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Also, race 1 kicks off the early pick 5 this afternoon, as always, 50-cent minimum. 12% industry low takeout. That's a mandatory payout in the early pick 5. Race 1 is going a mile and 16th on the turf. This is a maiden special weight event, and Keith, you and I both. I thought I was being pretty clever here, and you and I both land on the 3 Coat of Kings, my price play of the day, lined at 10 to 1. This one really perked my interest when I started looking at it, and you brought up a stat on Mike Trombetta, which reinforced my confidence in my pick.
And before we get to that, refresh me. Who is going to ride Coat of Kings? Did you
Johan Rosado.
That's going to be Rosado.
We do have a bunch of rider changes today. I'm going to try to get to as many as we can. If not, make sure you pay attention.
Running a little behind, got the scratches, not all the jock changes. And I thought before we get into this stat, it might have been a little bit of a tell. Carrasco was named on this one after a couple good runs on Harbor Moon. That, to me, is a little bit of a tell. So, last 2 years, Mike, on the 2-year-old versions, two-year-olds dirt to turf, 33%. I know it's a smaller sample. That's a strong stat, though. 410 your ROI. So I thought we might be able to slip away with a little bit of a price early money showing, but I thought this was going to be the higher price of the Trombettas. I thought ran okay, debut, Saratoga, thought enough 7/8 on the main track up there. That's a tough-ass first time out. Some issues out of the gate. Made a move into a sharp pace just to retreat from about the final quarter of a mile, and just kind of probably protected a little bit late. Hence the big gap there at the finish. There is some turf there, no doubt about it. Empire makers are okay, Tim, as you know that, about 12% overall. There was half sister to this one. It was pretty quick on the turf. And I'm wondering, showing that early move into that pace on the dirt, will his speed kind of show up today on the turf course? And maybe this one tries to go and control things on the front. And we'll see. I think he's going to be forward, but that kind of stat got me over the top, and the Carrasco move. Unfortunately, Victor unable to ride
today. Rosado on that one. Make the rider on the 4, Prowling Tiger, Hector Diaz in the first race also. But yeah, look, didn't have a good trip up at Saratoga. Gets back home here. A couple works right here at Laurel. A good one on October 7th. The other Trombetta entry is the 2 Harbor Moon, and Angel Suarez will get the call this afternoon. This is a colt who's getting on to the turf for the first time. Both races were on a sloppy track, and they were good efforts.
Good efforts. Willing to the wire. Has the benefit now of those routes under his belt. Stamina there. There is turf there in the family. 2 winning turf siblings. So Mike might be loaded here in the first one. First in the line. This was still a tough race to get through, Tim, I thought. This was a really tough ask for the gamblers first to start your day. But maybe the Code of Kings, we can get this one to drift up and get to the winner's circle. Rokog used the 9. John MacArthur a little bit. Respect Stidham here. The mare was okay. 3 for I'm sorry, she was okay. The stat here I have for him, only 3 for 21 though, with the 2-year-old routing first time out on the grass. 2 of 3 siblings though were turf runners. Sanctified, a sibling there, ran an 84, so it's capable there within the family to run a good number on the turf.
The 4 Prowling Tiger, I mean, it's a mile and 16th first time out. Kitten's Joy out of a multiple graded stakes winning mare on the turf, and this one's working pretty well for Arnaud Delacour up there at Fair Hill. 3-2 for Keith in the opener, 3-4 for myself as we move to race number 2. Race 2 kicks off the early pick 4, and Keith, you put together a ticket. Let's check out how you played it.
These things are tough. I want to get to the pick 1. Can I get to the pick 1? These pick 4s have just, I felt like I just stepped into the ring with Tyson or something the last month or two. It's just been brutal. We'll go here. I mean, add if you like, if you've got the bank, and you've got to have the bankroll to play these things. It's spreading all over the place. I've got a single here, a reach in the 5th just to get to the single here. So I go 1, 2, 3, 6. Any one of these horses could win race 2, Tim. 3 deep in the 3rd with the 3, the 6, and the 8. Here we go, 4th race, 2, 3, 4, and 6. I mean, tough to split these horses. Appalachian Heights is my top selection in there, and we whittle it down. We have a late scratch out of that 5th race with the 8, Ella Nation. Also take out the 9, Roselba. White Knuckle Flyer will be my single in there for a $24 early pick 4 ticket. But, man, it has been tough sledding here.
It is tough sledding because just there in the 3rd race, you have the 6 and the 8. I don't even use the 6 and the 8 in the 3rd race.
Yeah,
and so it's all over the place. It was a little bit that way yesterday on Maryland Million Day.
We've had luck. I mean, in our selections, boxing these, and that's one I've always said with these selections when we put them up, especially mine. I said, I'll let you know if I really like a horse to win. But those 4 picks on the bottom of the screen, first play is a box, in your exacts, and move on from there. So we've been knocking those right along the way. But these pick 4s, these pick 5, these multi-race wagers, extremely difficult at Laurel. They're paying big. We had one yesterday pay huge.
I did a late pick 5 this afternoon that we'll talk about later, and I struggled. I didn't find a single, and I tried, and I could not find a single. Let's go. Race 2 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, who've never won 2 races other than or optional, claiming $40,000, going 5.5 furlongs on the main track. You and I are both on the 6 in this spot.
Yes.
Canoodle for Timothy Keefe. Forrest Boyce gets the call. Tried restricted stake off a first level allowance win in her last start. Wasn't a bad effort. And of course, she's got a win going 5.5. Over this course.
I think her best run, her strongest run, is going to be at 5.5, and especially in a race set up with some flow in here. Paisley Singing likes to be forward. Should go. American Bastet, quick response time has shown. The Hydra's been close. So I think the flow is just going to be fine for Canoodle. I like to turn back. I'm going to toss the last against the grain of the racetrack on October 2nd. That sloppy sealed surface that day, it was very difficult to make up ground. So any horses that showed any ability to close, give special credence. I've got one like that I'm going to use later today off of that. But let's show a video of Matitude, because Canoodle was in there as well on September the 10th, right, Tim?
September the 10th. Yeah. I picked this up at the start a couple times.
Yeah, in the Shine Again Stakes. And Matitude, bad stumble out of the break. that afternoon. And this is a horse been taking play, a lot of play of recent note, even on the turf. Flashes of ability, but man, starts have really haunted Mattitude. Makes a move, is able to kind of get up and chase that quicker pace, 3 and 4 wide, Tim, and just kind of churns on. Yeah, you see the short comment trying. This horse just says, please give me a good break. Can I come out of the gate cleanly? She's got speed. She shows the ability, I think, sometimes to sit just off it. She might be a little bit better on a wet surface, but I'm going to roll the dice again and throw her in the exacta here. We'll see.
I use her at the bottom of my picks here, but these horses who get in this habit of not getting away. It's happened 4 times in a row.
Yes, it has.
4 times in a row, this filly has not gotten away from the gate. The one Paisley Singing we talked about a little bit. Charlie Frock, always tough. Let's talk about the 2 Hydra. A little bit. This one comes in off a little bit of a layoff for Jeffrey Engelhardt. He hits about 27%. This is a 7-time winner. It can run a little bit.
No doubt. Back to familiar surroundings, too. She knows Laurel. She's been here. Now, this is the first time back on this newer surface, right, since the surface change that we've done, but I don't think it's too different. But off 183 days, that's okay. This barn has got this one in good form prior to the layoff. I think she'll come back. Well placed in here. I think that 32 kind of equates pretty close to this option 2 here. So that works. Some of these key runners. Awesome India, the horse that ran third, never came back to run a big 83-84 buyer off of that race. So Englehart's usually mean business when they come down to Maryland.
Keith and I in agreement. In race 2, we both have the 6 on Top Canoodle for Keith and Forest Boys.
Right.
Race 3, mile on the grass course. Now where's a 2 lifetime, $25,000 is the claiming price. Wow. Keith, you have the 6 on top. This is Jet Speed for Michelle Hemingway. Last seen on a sloppy track. This will be taking on the turf for the second time in his career. Ran on the grass first time out. I think Gulfstream Park fired a good number, 72.
Yeah, that's kind of that was on the way back here. You see the big break from May of 21, but 72 buyer early in the career against a very quality field. All 3 of those horses came back to run well. 2 of the 3, Voodoo Sip and Age Fear Gold, they've run well in tough allowance racing stakes. So that was a salty field. We're going to have blinkers first time on the turf. We've got some speed. The only real challenge inside of that one is heartburn, I think, to go to the front. I think Jet Speed should be able to relax off of that one. Maybe those 2 get away, some softer internals, and this one's able to separate from the field. It's a stretch looking at the breeding box. It's a little bit of a speedier kind of a lean, but take a shot. Maybe this horse can escape at a price and hold on late.
I have the 7 on top for Bobby Caceres. Bobby's been very, very hot this fall here at Laurel. I'm willing to toss the last 2 races over a good main track, and that didn't work, beat 52 lengths. And even over the good turf course 2 starts ago. But this is a gelding who only got beat 2 lengths, and now wears a 2 for 40 in July, and then shows some other decent races with good figures before that. So I'm going to give this one a shot here for Caceres and Karamanos. The 8, we talked about the 8. No, we haven't talked about the 8. Seabray coming in for Ray Handel. Good at Saratoga. Main track last start. Throw that one out.
Yeah, I think this horse was just getting good in that 2-back race. Field's all right. Top 2 horses out of that race on August the 20th. I should say the other horses, they've come back. Good numbers. I think this horse is okay getting back to the turf and was able to close into slower flows up there. Just kind of a steady progression to get up 2 races back. I think this field is perfect for his running style. As you said, Heartburn and Jet Speed, they're going to need to go maybe a little bit quicker to enhance the run, Seabray, but I definitely respect this runner from the back of the pack with Sheldon Russell for Ray Handel. I'll throw the 10 in, Trash Talking Larry. He's kind of around. He's the one against this group. Should be well positioned. Might be hindered by a little bit of a wide trip. Needs to kind of save as much ground as possible to kind of enhance the punch. Even Tate. David Howard right now, his horses are running well.
I said my number should be 7, 10, 2, 3, and I probably made the mistakes when I sent them in, but I'm looking at my page. Yeah, I like Take. I think the David Howard horses are starting to come around a little bit. He's starting to, those horses are starting to run well. And you're right, Trash Talking Larry, Jose Corrals. There's a couple of Jose Corrals horses in today, and we know how he goes. You know, he just kind of hits here and there, and you've got to be on him.
Yes.
It's almost a guessing game, but when you see one that's close, you've got to get on them. Let's move to race 4. This is for for fillies and mares 3-year-olds up, which started for a claiming price of $5,000 or less since last October, going 1 mile on the main track. We'll start with the 2, and let's just start with this video that we have on the 2 Appalachian Heights. This race is from October 6th. Right here at Laurel Park.
Yeah, this was a little interesting. Taking advantage of the conditions, ran really big against a key horse in Targe. This was the scary thing. Right back to the nickel. Now gets claimed. We'll see. We'll see how, if Appalachian Heights can maintain form for the Frocks. Was able to sit chilly, relax just off the lead. I thought this was kind of a daring move because the inside did open up, and Charlie says, no, we're going to go outside and split horses, move out a couple paths. Does it, is able to kind of go clear. The last eighth of a mile, hold sway late. The advantage I give is just over this racetrack. Appalachian Heights is proven. Let's see if she can maintain form. We've got a couple horses coming in off of other surfaces, Gold Time Vixen and Love is Strong, that both look like they're going to play major roles in the outcome of this race. Slight edge to the 2 in here. You've got Barbosa. That's always a plus. But I definitely fear the 4 and the 6. They're coming in off of good efforts.
And here's another David Howard horse, Gold Time Vixen, who's improving a little bit. Just kind of kept churning away up there at the Delaware Park over the mud. Gets back to the Laurel for the first time in a long time, but I think it just seemed to be going a little bit better for David Howard.
No doubt of note. And Love is Strong is back in 11 days. That was the only hiccup. The barn's doing great. I'm a smaller sample. They're close to like 36, 37% over the last 90. Miguel Vera. This one from this 1-turn mile should be tactical. You've got a scratcher Ravenel that I thought was going to be out there maybe running with Watch Your Tune. So Watch Your Tone could be forward a long way here.
And Love is Strong. I mean, look, she had to go to Penn National to get good again, but she comes back. She comes back here with a couple wins and maybe a bit of confidence, and certainly her numbers went the right way.
You see it day in and day out like I do. It's tough when you see the horses kind of leave here. They find a happy place sometimes at Penn and Delaware, and the numbers are inflated a little bit for their own particular form that we're used to seeing, right? Then it's kind of a guess for the handicapper to see if they can maintain. So confidence is key, and maybe that's the key for Gold Time Vixen and Love is Strong with those bigger efforts at other racetracks.
Let's move on to race 5. Race 5 kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6, and we have a carryover from yesterday, $10,855. I didn't put together a Pick 6 ticket today. I picked together a late Pick 5.
That was hard enough.
And that was hard enough. But look, just under $11,000 carryover in the Rainbow Pick 6 this afternoon here at Laurel Park. Let's talk about race number 5. This is a 2 other than on the grass, 5.5 furlongs on the grass. We'll start with a white knuckle flyer for Dale Capuano. J-Ron Barbosa gets the call for the first time this afternoon. And we're going to look back at white knuckle flyer's race from July 30th this past summer. Yeah,
July 30th. This was all right. This is in the Jamil Elevation, who was supposed to run a scratch. Again, 3 to 4 wide, hung out without not much cover. Comes under pressure a little bit early. I like the effort, though, just kind of churning on from between horses. I'm a sucker, Tim, for these horses that move outside to inside on the turf. They can get a little bit more cover. They can keep their attention. They can be, as you like to say, drug up into a race and kind of hold them there before they make that burst. I think that's the trip that you're going to see from White Knuckle Flyer. I hope she certainly gets it today with Barbosa. Key scratch with the 8 and the 9. The scratch of the 9 clearly helps the 4 Stony Point's chances as well.
Yes.
She looks like she wants to be forward. She's been off a while, but that doesn't terribly scare me with these turf runners. But you've got that combo of McGahee and Boyce. Teen Drama from the outside, a fresh horse, might show some speed as well. Showed it in debut. Might be able to force that issue of Stony Point. But I think Stony Point stays the trip. I'm just hoping White Knuckle Flyer can kind of go over the top late.
Well, Stony Point's a filly who hasn't run a bad race. Take out that race going 7/8 of a mile on the turf, has shown up every time. We know Boyce and McGahee are tough. I have the 7 Mucha Mosquito on top. I took a couple shots in here, and I got Bath and Tennis up underneath that one. But, hey, look, this was coming out of a race at Aqueduct. Only got beat a half length, going 3/4 of a mile on the turf. Fired a good number. She's a 2-time winner here at Laurel Park, and she's run very, very well, going 5.5 furlongs, including that nice race 3 starts ago. I know it's against softer.
Yeah.
But she shows up and she runs.
And math and tennis, all she does is try.
Try.
They're very similar
stepping
horses.
up again.
If you've taken the 7, you're got to have the 6
Yeah.
with her, and vice versa within this race. So if you're on one of those, you're on both of them in the 5th.
Yeah, when I handicapped this card, I was just, I'm going to take some shots
Yeah.
here on Sunday. Why not?
Uh-huh.
I mean, coming
I
off,
like it.
Because I get told I'm a chalk eater.
Really?
Yeah.
Who tells you that?
I got some so-called friends who do that kind of stuff. Let's move on to race number 6. This is a maiden event, 3, 4, and 5-year-old, 7/8 of a mile. On the main track, 3 is Willowwood for Arnaud Delacour. Both you and I have this one on top. First-time starter for Arnaud, who's been working well. I also have a late pick 5 ticket that starts here. Thank you, Olivia. I go 4 deep here. 2, 3, 4, 11. Race 7, I use the 2 and the 6. Race 8, 3 deep again. There's 7, 9, 10. Race 9, I use the 3 and the 10. And in the closer, the 1 and the $248 ticket, late pick 5. I could not get a single.
No.
I tried to get a single because I actually want to go a little deeper in this race, but I just couldn't. But let's go back to Willowwood, Arnaud Delacour, Georgie Ruiz, working pretty well up there at Fairhill.
Yeah, I've got, believe it or not, later in the card, is it the last? I've got a Delacour horse, the first one on top.
7.
That just doesn't happen much at all. But breaking down this race, here's what caught my eye about Willowwood. The purchase price. I know Laurel Stable, they'll spend some money, right?
Yep.
They've got plenty of money, and if they want to lend some of it to me and you, they're more than welcome to. It won't be a lend either. It'll be a gift.
Yeah, right.
It'll be a gift. No.
It'll
be charity case. We've got tuitions to pay, right, Tim?
Exactly.
We
You're
know.
almost done. Stop it.
No, I still got some time. But no, so I see 100,000. I looked at the family. I'm like, they paid this must have been one good look as a weanling, right? I'm sorry,
Sure.
As a weanling. So Divining Rod, knew at the time. So workouts good enough. Literally, that's all I'm basing. There was a couple other horses I liked in here. I like Tammy's horse who scratched, so I kind of defaulted. So I'll make you a reason for that one. That's good enough for me, right there in jock trainer
I
percentage.
was disappointed with the scratch of Hammy's horse also because I like that one. The 2 toward the inside, Luna Warrior coming off a long layoff for Michelle Hemingway, working very, very well up there at Monmouth Park. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk about the second half of our card.
Okay.
We're ready for the start. They're off.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Let's move on to race number 7. The racing office and the horsemen have not made it easy on us. Here we go. 2 other than. This isn't even the feature of the day. 2 other than going 1 mile and an eighth on the turf course. We're going to start with the 5. This is Nathan Detroit for Norman Cash. William Humphreys gets the call. Been a little while since this horse has really fired a good result. Has been running some decent numbers.
I'm willing to kind of just give a pass to the last couple races. Here's the key. 4 starts on Laurel's turf course, 3 wins. That's all you need to know. This is the right spot. Coming back out of tougher races, has won a 3 other than, comes into a 2 other than. If he's gone for 40. Reunited Billy Humphrey. He knows this horse. This horse can kind of settle. Has handled traffic in the past and has been determined with his runs here in Maryland. I think this is a little softer going than what he's got in competition was. I think he fires here today.
Let's look at the 4, Barberini for Arnaud Delacour. This will be second off a layoff. But let's take a look at his first off the layoff race this past September 25th, where he ran a big one.
There's a 3-year-old getting good, really getting good. And it's kind of stalled there a little bit, right? Towards the back. And then is able to kind of make that move. They went quick in this race. 22-4, 46-4. That was Tom Hagen that emerged. But Barberini is going to be able to kind of shift that income rolling. This is a solid run for this one. The 3-year-old son of Flintshire. I think, extra ground, no worries whatsoever for this one, extra 16th of a mile. Just kind of
ground it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good run. Now, the flow, is it going to be as quick today? Is he going to get that help? Maybe he's just as good. Some of these turf courses, the way he's kind of moving up, he can handle, that 24, 48, and 4 kind of pace and then just pick it up. They do what they do, and this guy, second off the break, he's going the right direction for Delacour.
I have the 6, Border Town on top for Mike Maker. Angel Cruz gets the call. Win at the end of August out there at Del Mar, where he earned a pretty good number. Has run a mile and eighth twice with 1 win and a good figure. The distance shouldn't be an issue for Border Town this afternoon for Mike Maker.
No, King's Honor, I think, will be forward a long way in here. This flow, looking at the group, Tim, man, he should be able to stay the trip with kind of – there's nothing there really to be a big challenge early. So he should be able to relax and bring a finish that final 3/8.
Yeah, coming off a little bit of a break, but that's not an issue for Brittany Russell, the 2 King's Honor. Race A is a maiden event. Maiden 12.5 is the claiming price. 3/4 of a mile will start with your top pick. That is the 9 Red Priestess for Robbie Bales. Draw a line through that last race, but the 2 back, that's good enough here.
Yeah, things got dicey late in that race at Pimlico. Bet her that afternoon at 4-1. Looked home and just started getting out. Got a little funky late. I'd be taken up. And then next time out on that track on October the 2nd, the sloppy sealed. Wanted no parts of it. You see the comment, rated outside foes in that bigger field. Said no mas, and we're just going to retreat. Looking at the field, maybe I Have Courage goes with Barbosa. I think Red Priestess is going to try to take this field a long way in here. I'll throw the 11 in as well. Manitoula Island, you're talking about Corrales. Stay with him. Took very odd play. That was the key for me. He doesn't win first time out, right? Very once in a blue moon. 6-1 in an 8-horse field, angled 5 wide, a little bit of belated action. Just that tell that this horse took some money shows to me that they kind of liked it a little bit. You're going to get Rodriguez today, right? 7-pound buck.
Yes, I got a good story on top for Mary Epler coming out of this. We threw it off a layoff. 2 decent races on return. Maybe not getting any significant class drop, but by the numbers a little bit. HOV lane for Kenny Cox is interesting to me also. This afternoon, getting back onto a fast racetrack.
A little bit of trouble last time. Kind of had to shuffle a little bit back, lost some ground, stayed inside. But that was the day. You couldn't close. This horse was very willing against the grain of the racetrack. So, yeah, definitely get a little extra emphasis there to HOV lane.
Let's move to race 9. And after all the 2 other lands we've had and other nice race maiden races, let's move to the feature of the day. And this is a wide open allowance event going 5.5 furlongs on the grass. We'll start with the 9, your top of pick. This is Whiskey and Rye, first time in the barn of Jerry Robb. Big, this is a big reach to me. Keith, talk to me.
Well, scratch the 1, scratch the 4. I figured Kokachin wasn't going to go in here. But I don't think it's a terrible reach. You get beat 3/4 of a length and open up 3 against Can the Queen the same time last year. A little bit softer ground. Barn change, workouts, lights out, positional speed outside. I think it's a stalk and pounce kind of a move here for Whiskey and Rye. I'll take the shot. I'm hoping. Once I look back at this race again in the morning, I said, I got this horse lined way too high. Let's see what the bettors do with this one. I'm going to use this as some value.
I have the 10 on top. Can't Buy Love for Mike Trombetta. This one's been running some very good races, including 2 back in the Sensible Lady. Behind Can the Queen, and races earlier this year. Late spring, early summer.
Yeah. Let's show Can the Queen.
Let's show Can the Queen. Let's go to Can the Queen. This is our September 24th race up there at Pimlico. This is a Sensible Lady. This is going 5/8 of a mile, and she was awfully good today.
Gotta love the way she rated. Just kind of relaxed inside off of that quick pace. Saved ground, eased out, and said, I'm going to just turn right on by. And 8-1. You got on that one, right, that day? Big price. She's beaten these in the past. She's run well over this turf course. She's in just razor-sharp form. Can she come back with a 90? I don't know. A middle 80 is probably going to win it. But, she's really – I mean, that was as visually impressive as anything she's ever shown.
I'm not going to take anything away from her. There's no doubt about that. The 5.5 furlongs here at Laurel, I can't imagine she runs back to that 90, go 5.5 here at Laurel. Hasn't been quite as good. I mean, she has some wins here. The figures have not been quite as good. She did win here going 5.5. That was a yielding course last October where it was a 2 out of the end, a little bit softer, and they were incredibly slow because the course was so slow. But the 5.5 is a little bit of concern for me for Canada Queen. But still, I respect her. Don't get me wrong.
She's going to have to make a move or deal with, I would think. Don't let Sweet fool you at some point as well.
I like that one
for Lacey. So she's going to have to deal with that. Yep. And do you really want to take her at an 8-5 or 7-5 when you could have had her at 8-1 last time?
Right.
Is she going to be able to bring that back at a shorter price?
I do like the 3. Don't let Sweet fool you, and I'll talk more about that one this afternoon.
Okay.
Let's move to the nightcap. This is a maiden event, 12.5, 3/4 of a mile. And you have the 7 on top, a first-time starter for Arnaud Delacour.
You're like me. You haven't been thoroughly impressed with the runs that have run, so we're going to go with a firster on top. Yeah, I go with Annie. Full sib was not close in debut, but does have another sibling that did win first out, the only other runner. Works are good. And jock trainer combo again. The better post, I think, for the debut.
Right.
The one definitely, was
30%
in
a field like
with
this,
these maiden claims.
You just have to with the Brittany Russell. And, But look, the 2-1 Las Olas real quickly. I'll throw out that race on the slop. The race before for that 20,000 was a decent effort, and now gets a little class relief here today. But the 10th was a toughie. Let's switch to lightning round. Let's take a quick look back at some of the highlights from yesterday's card. There were a ton of them. We could do a whole half-hour show on the highlights, but I picked out just a few.
Okay.
Well, we're going to go upstate. Going to start with Johnny Z from Albany. Takes the fast lane in the nursery. Boy, this was a good-looking win, Keith.
Yeah, aggressively ridden from the gate to get that lead and really relaxed around the turn and said, you know what, little challenged quarter. See you later. Opened up. This is what I've been waiting for from this guy. I think he's going to even get better as he moves on. Can maybe even handle a little bit more distance. Really good race, and only a tick or 2/5 off the sprint runners, right? That was a good time on this racetrack. Early buyer, 84 for Johnny Z from Albany.
That's a big number for a 2-year-old. Let's move to the turf. Wicked Prankster back in 5 days. This was tricky. He fools them all. And Keith, it was chaos in the winner's circle. It was so much fun.
It must have been 300 people. Jimmy had to take them out on the turf course, the dirt course. They took up everything. And this is what it's all about. Sammy Davis, outfits, Linda out. People that have, haven't been running a whole lot of horses. Of like, look at this. This is what makes your year your life, right?
There you go.
Within horse racing. So Wicked Prankster, gritty right to the finish. Looked like he was going to be beat, right? At about the 16th pole, just dug in tenaciously to hold on. I love it. That's good stuff.
And I love the Sammy Davis back in I'm he hadn't run. I mean, he was a fresh horse. So we're going to come back and a little old school, but I appreciate that. I'm a big believer in racing and more racing and less training, but that's not the trend anymore. Work.
What do we got next?
Work. Nest Nation. Let's go to Nest Nation. Our nation on parade. Oh, boy, he was the Grand Marshal here yesterday. $50,000 claim the race before. Big move.
Just, coming off a couple sharp victories. And I was a little, doubting him a little bit, but they left a 3/8 pole, and he was just relaxed and poised. Jock looked back a couple times head of the stretch. It was over. Finishes well through the wire. Couple good efforts. Looked like the poser was kind of a little closer than he likes to be, and even Van Scholars, don't give up on him. He was up close, dropped back, and came again. Boy, he's willing. He's lightly raced. He's got a future ahead of him as well.
I was so keyed in on Our Nation on parade and doing my things, and I saw Van Scholar backing up on the turn. I thought he was done, and all of a sudden I look at the results. Where did he come from? He went second. He came back on, but it was an exciting Maryland Million day. Let's talk real quick about your best bay of the day and your value play of the day, and then we'll
White Knuckle Flyer in the 5th. Hopefully we'll hold it an okay price as well. Maybe around 3-1, 7-2 when it's all said. No, we did have that key scratch in there. Hopefully this one gets that covered up trip and rallies into it. Value play, you talked about it. You thought maybe I was a little nuts with whiskey and rye. Maybe I'll drink a little whiskey and then have a little rye, I guess, after this one, if it gets it done at double-digit odds for Jerry Robb. Hey, you get a chance to get Robb at a price, fresh, working well. only been beaten a zop by the 8-5 morning line favorite. Granted, on a little bit more giving turf course, but I'm willing to take the shot.
Yeah, and that's a one I did not get to yesterday in the lightning round feed of Spree from yesterday. Big race for the Rob outfit. That's going to do it for Keith and myself. Stand by for changes with Dave Rodman. We do have a lot of rider changes that I simply didn't get to during the show, so you're going to want to get those changes. Nice race, 10 race card, Keith, and we're going to have a little fun today.
Racing office did a great job. Jillian, all the way, the whole group, man. They challenged everybody, for my job as a line maker, handicappers, but everybody involved, and thanks to everybody who, was here yesterday for Maryland Million, our fans, and all the workers, everybody that puts such an effort into that day to make it go.
A big shout out to Dan Illman, who
absolutely
joined me on the show yesterday. We had a blast. I don't think we're going to win an ESPY or anything, but we did have fun.
He does a great job.
Does a great job.
If you haven't picked up the form or anything, he does a thorough investigation of these races each and every day. So he's a big help.
No doubt about that. We'll see. I'll see you back on set a little bit later, but stand by for Dave Rodman.
All right, good luck.